I suppose you will agree that the strongest debates, the most vociferous debates occur when there is some merit on both sides. I mean, it is never 100-0. Whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken away from him. This is what we say on a day-to-day basis, that the rich will get richer and the poor will get poorer. That need will make the upper and the educated classes even more rich and even more educated, and the poorer and uneducated classes slide down the slippery slope. Now, the point here is, this is always been the way of the world. This is how the world will operate. So, unless government steps in, unless government takes active steps, this is the way things will be. The rich will get richer, the poor will get poorer. Now, in the last 200 years, even before the communists and the socialists came along, John Stuart Mill, and before him an English philosopher called Jeremy Bentham, came up with a philosophy called utilitarianism. I'm sure many of you have heard of utilitarianism. It can be expressed in a single phrase: the greatest good of the greatest number. How do you decide whether a legislation or a government policy is good or bad? Bentham and Mill said, that policy is good which benefits a large number of people. That policy is bad which benefits only a narrow clique. So applying this test is a very common sense point of view, but you'll be surprised to know that it's never applied. I mean, the forces are very powerful. The forces against this are very powerful. Applying this test, is reservation good or bad? The reservation is good because it benefits a large number of people. Is it good for 15% of the people to occupy 85% of the posts, or 85% of the people to occupy their 85% of the posts? It's common sense. I mean, 85% of the people should have their 85% stake, So, what Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill said is, all government actions, all government policies should be informed by the principle of utilitarianism. Don't do something which benefits only a handful of people, a few oligarchs, a few top industrialists. I mean, you would agree that a policy which benefits only a few industrialists is bad. A policy which benefits big and small and medium industrialists across the country is good. So it's a common sense principle, but it is never followed. Now, everybody till now who has spoken about before me, they were very critical of the new national education policy, NEP 2020. Tamil or saying mullal edukanungra mari, removing a thorn with a thorn. I am relying on the national education policy to say that NEET is bad, and what the culture that NEET has introduced is bad. Why am I saying that? These are all extracts from the national education policy. Look at the first point. Focus on regular formative assessment for learning rather than the summative assessment that encourages today's coaching culture. This is the national education policy saying. That is, focus on long-term education and not on summative assessment. That is one 3-hour test deciding your entire career. You're finished. So you don't want a person's career to be decided by a 3-hour test. Now, I couldn't have said it better. The national education policy is saying this. The next point national education policy is saying is, the current nature of secondary school exams, including board exams and entrance exams, and the resulting coaching culture of today are doing much harm, especially at the secondary school level, replacing valuable time for true learning with excessive exam coaching and preparation. If Government of India were to implement national education policy in letter and spirit, I don't think there should be an exam like NEET at all. Because national education policy says that this entrance exams and coaching culture are affecting school education, which we all know it's true. Because for the last, many people, they join what are called dummy schools. They are actually present only in the coaching centers. There's a nice Hindi serial called Kota Factory. I hope many of you may have seen it. Students don't even go to the school. They get free attendance. They are only in the coaching factory. Now, this, some of them are admitted, they join even at 9th standard itself. 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, they spend in coaching factory. Now, this affects education, and this is very bad. I'm not saying this. The national education policy is saying it, and I only hope they walk the talk. The third point is, the existing system of entrance examination shall be reformed to eliminate the need for undertaking coaching for cracking the examination. This is exactly what we are saying. The fourth point, full equity and inclusion as the cornerstone of all educational decisions. I mean, it is easy to say, it is difficult to actually implement it. Sixth, the existing system of entrance examination shall be reformed to eliminate the need for undertaking coaching for cracking the examination, which is exactly what everybody has been saying. Full equity and inclusion as the cornerstone of all educational decisions. Education is a public service. Access to quality education must be considered a basic right of every child. Substantial investment in a strong, vibrant public education system is necessary. Now, all these things have been said in the national education policy, but if you ask, is it actually being implemented? The answer is no. I mean, what is the point of saying we should eliminate coaching culture? We should promote, we should not weaken the school system by introducing entrance examinations and then having more and more entrance examinations, more and more central common entrance examinations. Now, I would like to approach this issue in three ways. I think all of you here know the arguments for and against meet. I don't want to traverse the same ground. I would like to approach this issue in three ways. First, this battle against what is called meritocracy is not just an Indian problem, it's a worldwide problem. This is not just an Indian problem, it's a worldwide problem. You may see here, these are books. The first is Rise of the Meritocracy, written by a gentleman called Michael Young. He wrote it in 1954. He was a British Labour politician. He wrote the Manifesto for Labour Party in 1945, and he envisaged way back in 1954 that the new meritocracy, the aristocracy of talent, will emerge, replacing the old aristocracy by birth. Now, he used the word meritocracy in a negative sense, in a pejorative sense. He said, the new meritocracy by talent may appear on surface to be a good thing, but actually it is worse than the old thing. Why? Because in the old thing, at least the aristocrats by birth knew that they were the benefits of a genetic lottery. They were born into a rich family because they were lucky. And the poor also knew that they were born, the fact that they were poor is not their fault. Again, it's a genetic lottery. They were born into a poor family. What Michael Young said is, in the new meritocracy or the aristocracy of talent, the rich think that they have achieved what they have achieved by dint of hard work. They think they have got what they have got because of their merit. And the people who fail to achieve, they also have a guilt complex. They feel that, oh, namalala mudiyala, maybe namak tharame illa polike. So he said, our friend Michael Young correctly said way back in 1954, that this is going to create even worse problems than the present aristocracy by birth. He said, at least the aristocrats were apologetic. They were ashamed of their wealth. He is saying the new meritocrats are going to be arrogant. That's what we see about, whether it's IIT graduates or IIM graduates or IAS officers. People think people are arrogant. They think we have achieved and others are inferior. The next book is a book called The Meritocracy Trap, saying the same point. It's written by a gentleman called Daniel Markowitz. He's a professor of law in Yale University. Not Yale University, as you know, is one of the Ivy League universities. So he says the same thing. Meritocracy is bad. Next is a book called Tyranny of Merit by Michael Sandel. Michael Sandel is professor of philosophy in Harvard University, again one of the Ivy League universities. He says the same thing. Next you have other books against meritocracy, the meritocratic myth. I could come across only one book in support of meritocracy, and that was The Aristocracy of Talent by Adrian Wooldridge, a former political editor of The Economist. As you know, The Economist is a magazine of the far right and of the market forces. So, the short point I'm trying to say here is, it is not just India. In India, worldwide, there is a rebellion against meritocrats, the so-called meritocrats. People say that Trump's election in 2016 was because of this. There was a general revulsion in America, especially among the poorer whites, that they have been left behind in the race to life. Now let me ask you this question. Most people say that meritocracy is talent plus effort. People say, I've reached where I have achieved because of my innate talent and because of my effort. Why should people who don't have talent or who don't have effort be successful? That is the question they ask. I say this is the wrong equation. The correct equation is meritocracy is equal to talent plus effort plus investment. Investment of time, investment of effort, investment of money. Let's say my son and my driver's son are both equally talented and they both put equal amount of effort. Who do you think will succeed? My son will succeed because I can put in a lot of investment. I can teach him at home. I can put him in a costly coaching institute. My driver's son can't. So other things being equal, people who can put in investment get ahead in life. So meritocracy, it is wrong to think. Most people, this is the reason why Tamil Nadu's cry against meat has not got the support it has deserved. Because most people seem to think, after all, what is wrong with meritocracy? After all, meritocracy means talent plus effort. So people with talent and effort should go ahead. That's what people think. No, meritocracy is not talent plus effort. It is talent plus effort plus investment, where investment plays the biggest role. As a result, what has happened now is meritocracy has also become hereditary. The old aristocracy by birth was hereditary. People inherited the wealth, they enjoyed life. Now, initially, there was some movement, social movement when meritocracy was introduced. But afterwards, what has happened, the new aristocrats by talent, they can give their children the best of coaching, the best of guidance, and they become the new aristocrats, so it has again become hereditary. Now, I told you about The Economist. It's a magazine of, it's normally against, social issues and all that. It's pro-market and this one. But even The Economist carried an article some time back. It said America's new aristocracy, the point which I made just now. It says a hereditary meritocracy. It is saying that the people who are successful, the father might have become successful by his own effort, but he makes sure that his son will never go down. His grandchildren will never go down. So even The Economist says that meritocracy has become hereditary. Ramesh, Kusum, usually on the North Indian scale, double the name Perda. And after the retest was done, nobody could cross 650. So FIRs were registered in 6 or 7 states. Now, as you all know, the Supreme Court said, இது அப்படியே ஒன்று வைட் ஸ்ப்ரெடாக கிடையாது, இது பண்ண தேவையில்லை அப்படின்னு சொன்னாங்க. That is wrong. I personally feel that judgment is wrong because the same Supreme Court in 2015 in Tanvi Sarwal versus Central Board of Secondary Education, All India Pre-Medical Exam, the Government of India Kotak Narathanappa, same thing happened. Within 1 month, Supreme Court passed the order. Supreme Court said, leak out achana, the sanctity of the exam is gone. Please conduct the exam all over again. The CBSE said, 2 months ago, 6 months ago. Supreme Court said, nothing doing, you conduct it. Another case was Sachin Kumar and others versus Delhi Subordinate Service, 2021. Again, Supreme Court. Similar thing happened. Again, Supreme Court said, you must conduct it. Guess who was the judge in the second case? One of the judges was Chandrachud. He was one of the judges in that. But in this latest scam, the same CJ, gentleman who has now become CJ, he says, no, it's only it was sporadic another English law proverb, if you see a cockroach, there is never a single cockroach. There is a colony of cockroaches nearby. So never make the mistake of this. So similarly, if something like this is going on, you can be damn sure that there are many scams all over the place. You have seen a few, that's all. So, as I said, Centre is now considering the possibility of switching from NEET UG to pen and paper to online. That's even more dangerous. In IIT JEE exam, GMAT exam, about 820 students had paid a Russian hacker and got admission. அதில் ஒரு 6 பேர் தான் பிடிபட்டிருக்காங்க, மீதி 800 பேர் இன்னும் ஐஐடியில் படிச்சிருக்காங்க. They are happily studying. So the last I would like to say, all truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as being self-evident. Now, Tamil Nadu has always been a forefront, in the front runner in all these matters. As you know, Kamaraj built a primary school in every village within 1 kilometer of this one, way back in the 1950s. It took about 50 years for Government of India to implement Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan and bring in Right to Education Act. Government of India was 50 years behind us. Kamaraj electrified all the villages in Tamil Nadu, village panchayats, in the 1950s. Only in 2018, Government of India electrified all the villages in India. We are about 60 years behind. Tamil Nadu the Justice Party introduced Noon Mill scheme for Chennai Corporation schools in 2021. Kamaraj extended it to all schools in 1950s. MJR extended it to cooked meals in 1980s. And MJR Planning Commission meeting wrote attend panna porappo Manmohan Singh was the vice chairman. Idella edhukku appadi pesirukkaru. MJR kovamayitu he walked out. Now from 1995 onwards the same scheme has been extended to the whole country. The point I'm trying to say is Tamil Nadu has always been in the front runner. India has followed the rest about 30 years to 50 years later. They have seen the light. Neatla kuda inga or stage la namma point ku varuvanga, but on the 30 years 50 years kuda damage is going to be tremendous. I only hope that the period is narrow, shortened, and they don't take 30 years to wake up. Thank you.